Welcome to Lecture 10, Mac OS Forensics or Apple Macintosh Book. Let's look into this in more depth. Let's look into Apple history a little bit first. Apple's history begins in 1975 when Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, two young electronics enthusiasts, started attending meetings of the Homebrew Computer Club in California. This club was gathering place for hobbyists interested in the fledgling field of personal computing. Wozniak, a talented engineer, had been working on designing his own computer, which would later become Apple I. Jobs, recognizing the potential of Wozniak's creation, suggested that they sell it as a fully assembled circuit board. This marked the beginning of Apple Computer, with the Apple I being one of the first personal computers to be sold commercially. Albeit in a very basic form, in 1977, Apple introduced the Apple II, a significant improvement over the Apple I. The Apple II was a fully integrated computer with a keyboard, color graphics, and expandable memory, making it much more user friendly and accessible to a broader audience. It quickly became a commercial success, particularly with the release of VisiCalc, the first spreadsheet program, which turned the Apple II into a valuable business tool. The Apple II series remained a mainstay of Apple's product line throughout the late 1970s and early 1980s, helping to establish the company as a leader in the personal computer market. The early 1980s saw Apple venture into new territories with the introduction of the Lisa and the Macintosh. The Lisa, released in 1983, was one of the first personal computers to feature a graphical user interface or GUI, but its high price and limited software availability led to modest sales. However, the Macintosh, launched in 1984, brought the GUI to a wider audience with its innovative design, mouse input, and affordable price point. The Macintosh was promoted through a memorable Super Bowl commercial directed by Ridley Scott, which positioned Apple as a revolutionary force in computing. Despite initial struggles, the Macintosh eventually gained traction, particularly in the desktop publishing industry, thanks to its advanced graphics capabilities. Throughout the late 1980s and early 1990s, Apple faced significant challenges, including internal power struggle and increased competition from Microsoft and other PC manufacturers. Steve Jobs left Apple in 1985 following a disagreement with the board of directors, leading to a period of instability and declining market share. The company introduced several new products, such as PowerBook line of laptops and the Newton MessagePad, one of the first personal digital assistants or PDAs. However, these innovations were not enough to reverse Apple's fortunes, and by the mid 1990s, the company was on the brink of bankruptcy. In 1997, Apple made a pivotal move to acquiring Next, the company founded by Steve Jobs after his departure from Apple. This acquisition brought Jobs back to the Apple, and he was soon reinstated as CEO. Under Jobs' leadership, Apple underwent a dramatic turnaround. The company introduced the iMac in 1998, stylish and affordable all-in-one desktop computer that became a massive success. This was followed by the iPod in 2001, which revolutionized the portable music player market, and iPhone in 2007, which transformed the smartphone industry. Apple's resurgence continued with the iPad in 2010, further solidifying the company's position as a leader in consumer electronics and innovation. So that's a good idea to get started in this lecture. Mac OS desktop look like this. Mac file system, as discussed earlier, Macintosh file system, older technology, no longer in use. Hierarchical file system, or HFS, used on Macintosh Plus beginning with Mac OS 8.1, replaced by HFS Plus. Hierarchical file system plus is enhanced of HFS, preferred file system on Mac OS X. Hierarchical file system plus, supporting journaling, supporting discourse, has hard and soft links, use 32 bits for allocating blocks, supports long file names up to 255 characters, uses Unicode, supports aliases, perform defragmentation on a per file basis. First two sectors, sector 0 and 1, are boot blocks. Third sector has volume header, contains a great deal of pertinent forensic information. Allocation file keeps track of which allocation blocks are free. Apple file system, created for Mac OS 10.13, High Sierra, and TV OS 10.2 and later versions. Supported file systems are ISO 9660 extensions, the Microsoft Disk Operating System MS-DOS, New Technology File System NTFS, Universal Disk Format UDF, and Unix File System UFS. The Boot Camp Assistant, permitting one to install additional operating system on the same machine alongside Mac OS, supports Windows 10. When conducting forensics, it is important to be aware of whether the boot camp is also in use. Require you to also analyze the Windows system that is hosted in the boot camp. And the VM folder contains swap and sleep image files, can be the source of important forensic information. Information about system and software updates are in receipts folder. Mobile documents are synced with iCloud. Interesting forensically. The bash history log, information on bash shell activity. The VM folder contains subfolders named app profile, lists of recently opened applications, temporary data used by applications. The directory is user files and preferences, whereas preference folder contains user preferences, maintains preferences of programs that have been deleted, valuable place to get clues about programs that have been deleted. The volumes contain information about mounted devices, includes data regarding hard disks, external disks, CDs, DVDs, and virtual machines. And I would suggest you to look into this. The users has users accounts and associated files, application all applications as given on the screen. So Mac OS forensic techniques, let's look into this in a little bit more depth. Mac OS forensics techniques are crucial for investigating and analyzing digital evidence on Apple's Mac OS operating system. One of the fundamental techniques is targeted disk mode or target disk mode or TDM, a feature that allows a Mac to be used as an external hard drive when connected to another Mac via Thunderbolt, FireWire, or USB. By boosting the target Mac into TDM, investigators can access its file system directly from the host Mac, enabling them to browse, copy, and analyze data without altering the original evidence. This method is particularly useful for live acquisitions where the target Mac cannot be shut down or when a quick and non-intrusive examination is required. Another essential Mac OS forensic techniques involves searching virtual memory, also known as swap space, or the paging file. In Mac OS, virtual memory is used to extend the system's physical memory or RAM by temporarily storing inactive or less frequently used data on the disk. Analyzing virtual memory can reveal valuable evidence such as remnants of deleted files, remnants of chat conversations, or even passwords that were once stored in memory. Tools like Volatility, a popular memory forensics framework, can be used to extract and analyze virtual memory dumps from the Mac OS systems. Investigators should be aware that virtual memory analysis can be time consuming and may require specialized knowledge to interpret the results accurately. Shell commands play a vital role in Mac OS forensics, providing investigators with powerful tools for examining the file system, running processes, and system configuration. For example, ls command can be used to list files and directories, while the find command can search for specific files or directories based on various criteria. The ps command displays a snapshot of current processes, which can help identify running applications and background services. Additionally, the plutil command can be used to parse and view property list or plist files, which are commonly used in macOS or configuration and storage of settings. These commands, along with many others, enable investigators to gather detailed information about the system's state and user activities. When conducting macOS forensics, it is essential to maintain the integrity of the evidence and ensure that investigation process is thorough and documented. This includes using right blocking tools to prevent accidental modification of the original evidence and following established procedures for evidence handling and chain of custody. Additionally, investigators should be familiar with the Mac OS specific features and artifacts such as time machine backups, Spotlight indexes, and iCloud synchronization, which can contain valuable evidence. Keeping up to date with latest Mac OS releases and forensic techniques is crucial for effective investigations and as the operating system and its features continue to evolve. To enhance macOS forensic capabilities, investigators can leverage specialized forensic software tools designed to support Apple's file system and unique features. Tools like Blacklight, Macquisition, and X-Waves Forensics offer comprehensive solutions for imaging, analyzing, and reporting an Mac OS system. These tools can automate many aspects of the investigation process, such as file carving, keyword searching, and timeline analysis, permitting investigators to efficiently uncover and examine digital evidence. Furthermore, these tools often provide user friendly interfaces and advanced features, such as support for Apple File System, APFS, and encrypted volumes, making them invaluable in Mac OS forensic examinations. So, as I discussed earlier, I would suggest you to look into the targeted disk mode in a little bit more depth. That's how it looks like. Linux based using shell commands as just discussed. Data returns current date returns current date and time zone. ls/dev/disk question mark lists current device files in use, and the last one lists partition table for the boot drive. Many forensic tools are less effective in extracting data in Mac OS than in Windows. One technique is to create a copy of the forensic image and then mount it as read-only virtual machine or VM. Critical to mount it as read-only. Macquisition, as discussed earlier, tool for imaging Mac OS systems, can run Macquisition on an Apple device that is already booted or boot to Macquisition. Requires a second external drive to copy the image to. Reading Apple drives. Majority of forensics workstations run Windows, many run Linux. Utilities that allow you to connect and view Apple Drive on a Windows computer is Mac ODrive 10 Pro, APFS for the Windows. Mac Drive 10 Pro looks like this. APFS for Windows looks like this. Can you undelete the Mac OS in the Mac OS? Similar to Windows, when file is deleted, references to file are gone and clusters might be used overwritten. Even if the data is overwritten, data might exist in unallocated space and in index nodes. Deleted files move to trash folder similar to recycle bin. In Windows, Mac OS trash folder is .trash, a hidden folder on the root directory of the file system. Can you undelete and recover deleted files from .trash by copying or moving to the location or use the tools to recover files even after trash bin has been emptied. Mac undelete or free undelete. Listing content of .trash looks like this. Disk drill looks like this. Mac undelete looks like this. Mac OS password recovery must have legal authorization to access the computer or device. Then do the following: enter recovery mode. MacBook must be fully powered off. Press the power and command plus R keys simultaneously to restart the device in recovery mode. When the Apple logo appears, let's go of the command plus R keys. Choose disk utility. If the MacBook requests a password, a firmware is protected and configured to prevent recovery mode attacks. That means this technique will not work if a firmware password is not set, and that password must be intentionally set for by the user. Proceed. If the firmware password is not set, you can get a terminal window. Mac OS recovery terminal window looks like this. Mac OS password recovery on the MacBook. It's type reset password in a terminal window. Close the terminal. A list of the accounts of the Apple devices will be displayed. Set a new password for one or more accounts. For later versions of Mac OS, plist files contain passwords and you cannot change them. You will need the USB drive that is FAT32 or APFS command, but not NTFS. From the terminal, use commands. Mac OS password recoveries look like this. Boot in recovery mode again and start the terminal, and you can follow the slide. I give you 5 seconds to go through the slide. MacBook basics we have learned in this discussion: where to find logs in macOS, forensically interesting macOS directories, forensic techniques for macOS, we discussed that also, how to undelete files. See you in the next lecture.